there, everyone! Welcome to my channel Creepy Narratives. Today, I'm thrilled to share more spine-chilling stories that have actually happened to me and others who have experienced these so-called creepy scenarios. These incidents were so eerie, creepy and strange that they had us questioning the very reality that we knew. So, sit back, relax and prepare to be captivated by the enigma of these creepy narratives. Welcome to my nightmare. I think that you're going to like it. Enjoy. Let's start with story number 1. Story number 1. The terrifying stranger at the crosswalk. I often recount this story to my friends, but I've never mustered the courage to tell my parents. I'm 23 years old now, but this chilling incident occurred when I was around 11 or 12, still in middle school. Growing up, I spent a lot of time with my grandparents, mainly because both my parents worked long hours. It wasn't unusual for me to spend the night at their place during the school week, considering my middle school was just a short walk away, about 15 minutes. I was raised with 2 core principles, both of which sometimes conflicted: respect your elders and don't talk to strangers. My grandparents' house was located in an area about a 5-minute walk from the local Walgreens and a small shopping center. This detail is significant for what transpired next. My grandmother was diabetic and had once broken her hip, making it challenging for her to walk long distances. My grandfather preferred spending his days outside, and my grandma knew I could be trusted to walk from school to their house. Consequently, she occasionally gave me some money and sent me on errands, usually to Walgreens or the small 99-cent store in the shopping center. It was during one of these errands that I had a harrowing encounter that almost resulted in my abduction. My grandma had handed me a few dollars and asked me to go to the dollar store since we'd run out of her beloved almond cookies, which were the only sweet treats she could enjoy. I didn't mind, as I was just watching TV and munching on snacks. It was around 4:30 in the afternoon when I made the short walk to the store, bought the cookies, and started heading back home. As I stood at the corner, waiting for the traffic light to change, I noticed a truck pulling up to the exit of the shopping outlet. The engine turned off, and an older man, perhaps in his late 40s, stepped out of the driver's side and approached me. Initially, I thought he needed directions, as it had happened to me before. But he didn't ask for directions instead, he just stood there, watching me intently. Feeling unnerved, I asked if I could help him with something. He bombarded me with a barrage of questions. Where did I go to school? What was I doing? Where was I headed? His questions took a sinister turn when he accused me of lying about leaving school at nearly 5 p.m. I explained that middle schoolers were let out at 3:30, but he grew increasingly angry, called me a liar, and insisted I had to go with him to return to school. My fear intensified as he moved closer and closer to me. I wanted to cross the street, but I didn't want to break the law by doing so at a red light. He reached out to grab me, and it was then that the walk sign finally illuminated. I sprinted across the street as fast as I could, hearing his angry shouts behind me, demanding to know why I wouldn't go with him even though I'd done nothing wrong. I ran all the way back home, making sure to take the alley and enter through the back door, just in case he followed me. My grandma was sitting where I'd left her, and she didn't notice me coming in through the back. I handed her the cookies, sat down, and watched TV, too afraid to tell her what had happened. I also kept the incident from my mom when she picked me up. Let's go to story number 2. Story number 2. The mysterious tennis teacher. My grandma often tells this story, viewing it through a lens of sweetness, but my mom and I are baffled by her naivete, given the more likely, sinister explanation. My grandma grew up in New York City during the Great Depression. When she was around 8 to 10 years old, she met a man at the park who offered to give her free tennis lessons. Being dirt poor and unable to afford such luxuries, my grandmother eagerly accepted his offer. They began meeting weekly, and the man would buy her things, take her out to eat, and play tennis with her. He confided in her, sharing stories about his life, including how he had a daughter who looked remarkably like her. He claimed that his wife had left him, and he was no longer allowed to see his own child. As their meetings continued, he eventually asked to meet her parents. They arranged to meet at a store to have a chat. In a shocking twist, the man bluntly told her parents that he wanted to adopt her and was willing to pay them handsomely for it. Times were tough during the Great Depression, but my great-grandparents had their limits. They made it clear that they would not sell their child to a stranger. They informed my grandmother that she could no longer take tennis lessons from him.
Are you ready for story number 3?
Story number 3. The Stalking Stranger in Staten Island. I was 8 years old, living in Staten Island at the time. I would often walk to the store by myself, as my parents didn't closely watch over me, and they sometimes even asked me to buy them cigarettes. On one such walk, a terrifying incident unfolded. As I strolled along, I noticed an old brown Buick from the 70s trailing me slowly. It was eerily close, and I sensed that something was amiss. Near the store, it pulled up beside me, and the driver attempted to engage me in conversation, asking for my help with something. I had learned to take care of myself, perhaps from being left alone frequently, and I immediately knew that this was a shady situation. I decided to run a few blocks until I reached the store and dashed inside. A few minutes later, the same man entered the store, and I could feel his presence as he followed me through the aisles. I considered informing the store clerk, but I didn't fully trust him either. I had experienced too many bad things in my young life, and my trust in people was limited. Instead, I came up with another plan. I decided to use a payphone to call my parents collect, making sure to speak loudly so that others could hear. I told them that I didn't feel safe and that someone was following me. The man fled the store in a hurry. My dad came to pick me up, and for the rest of the day, he searched for the man's car. Unfortunately, I hadn't noted the license plate, so we never found him. I often think about that incident, knowing that he likely didn't give up after failing to catch me. It's a heartbreaking reminder of how dangerous the world can be.
Let's continue with story number 4.
Story number 4. Late night encounter in the UK. It was around 4 a.m., and I was making my way back home from my partner Bob's place. We live on a hill in the UK, and it's one of those quiet, somewhat remote areas. I had been sharing my location with my fiancée the entire time to ensure my safety. As I reached near the top of the hill, something chilling happened. I heard a car horn blaring behind me, causing me to jump. I turned to see a white van pulling up about 2 meters in front of me, coming to a sudden stop. My heart raced as I froze in place, watching them closely. The van's hazard lights came on, and it began to slowly roll backward, heading in my direction. Panic washed over me, and I instinctively started walking backward, my phone trembling in my hand. I quickly called my fiancée, my voice trembling as I explained what was unfolding. The van continued to creep backward towards me, and my fear intensified. Just as my anxiety was reaching its peak, the van suddenly accelerated away, leaving me standing there, still shaken. My fiancée stayed on the phone with me as I made my way back to our flat. Once safely inside, I recounted the terrifying incident to my partner. In the morning, I reported the sighting to the authorities, though I hadn't managed to note down the license plate or capture a photo. My panic had consumed me entirely, and all I could think about was avoiding becoming another statistic. I've always struggled with anxiety, but after that harrowing experience, I've decided to opt for safer alternatives. From now on, I won't be walking alone at such late hours. I'll be taking an Uber.
Are you ready for story number 5?
Story number 5. Whispers of the past, unveiling shadows of suspicion. Life took an unexpected turn when my family decided to leave the confines of a trailer park and embrace the dream of a 2-story house in a peaceful suburban neighborhood. The new abode stood tall, adorned with majestic pillars that seemed to whisper of grandeur and promise. A fairy tale, or so it seemed, until a cascade of events unraveled a chilling sequence of occurrences, unveiling a tapestry woven with the threads of mystery and suspicion. It all began with a seemingly innocuous camping trip undertaken by my moms, leaving my brother and me in the care of my dad for the weekend. Little did we know, our suburban sanctuary was about to be shrouded in a cloak of darkness and tragedy. A surge in the power grid, a mere hiccup in the digital symphony of modern life, triggered a series of events that would forever alter our perception of our newfound haven. As the power fluctuated, a sinister force remained hidden, lurking in the shadows of our seemingly idyllic abode. The surge, innocuous in its nature, proved to be the catalyst for an unimaginable tragedy, one that would claim the lives of our beloved companions and leave an indelible scar upon our lives. The tendrils of fate intertwined in a twisted dance, as a short circuit within the smoke detector proved to be the fulcrum upon which our destiny teetered. The detector's malfunction, a consequence of the sudden surge, rendered it mute, its warning silenced at the very moment it was needed most. Simultaneously, a seemingly benign presence, dog-fur lay dormant behind the dryer, a silent witness to the impending cataclysm. A spark ignited, a symphony of destruction that tore through our haven with a voracious hunger. Flames danced and shadows contorted, leaving a trail of devastation in their wake. The once majestic two-story house stood as a mere shell, a testament to the merciless power of fire and the capricious nature of fate. Amidst the chaos, our companions faced a fate both heartbreaking and harrowing. Our loyal dog, a faithful sentinel, succumbed to slumber on the upper floor, her dreams interwoven with the inferno's embrace. A valiant feline sought refuge at the edge of the crawl space, an unyielding quest to escape the clutches of the encroaching blaze. Meanwhile, two other feline survivors bore scars, not just of physical trauma, but of a nightmarish ordeal that had left their young lives forever altered. The aftermath revealed a landscape forever transformed. Smoke-stained walls and charred remnants stood as stark reminders of the trials we had endured. Dumpsters collected the wreckage, each piece of debris a testament to the fragility of life and the resilience of the human spirit. Amid the ruins, my moms embarked on a painful task, to sift through the remnants of our lives, their hearts heavy with grief and determination. In the wake of the tragedy, an unexpected gesture of compassion emerged from the most unlikely of places. Rob, our white-bearded neighbor with a penchant for motorcycles and a drawing southern accent, reached out with an offer of solace. His presence, once just a nodding acquaintance, became a lifeline, a sanctuary where words and camaraderie flowed freely. Despite the age difference, his kindness transcended boundaries, offering a respite from the weight of our grief. Years later, a revelation shattered the illusion of safety that had been woven by Rob's companionship. An America's Most Wanted episode unfurled a sinister truth, casting a dark shadow over the benevolent neighbor. The once friendly face, obscured by the passage of time, was now linked to a chilling narrative, a tale of violence and terror that spanned decades and defied imagination. Yet, even in the face of such revelations, our lives moved forward, forever altered by the twists of fate and the enigmatic presence of Rob. As I reflect on those tumultuous times, I am reminded of the fragility of existence and the hidden depths that lie beneath seemingly mundane interactions. The whispers of the past, the shadows of suspicion, serve as a stark reminder that even amidst the most picturesque facade, the dance of darkness and light continues to unfold, weaving a tapestry of experiences that shape our journey through life.
It's time for story number 6.
Story number 6. The Midnight Escapade. A brush with the unseen shadows. The year was 2015, and the adventurous spirit of youth pulsed through my veins like an electric current. I was 15, and an ordinary sleepover at a friend's house took an unexpected turn, plunging us into the depths of a surreal and chilling encounter that would forever linger in our memories. The night was alive with a sense of reckless abandon as my friend and I indulged in a bit of teenage rebellion. A shared smoke session had left us both pleasantly baked, our minds floating on a cloud of euphoria. As the clock struck 1 a.m., an insatiable craving for munchies led us on a whimsical journey to a 24/7 grocery store, a mere 2 miles away. My friend, consumed by an overwhelming wave of paranoia, clung to an unfounded fear of shadows lurking in the bushes, casting an ominous shroud over our moonlit escapade. Nevertheless, we navigated the dark streets, our laughter punctuating the silence as we delved deeper into the night. Upon our arrival at the grocery store, our senses were bombarded by an array of tantalizing snacks that beckoned to us from the shelves. Laden with our loot, we settled into a small lobby area, our intention to hail a taxi thwarted by the stark reality of suburban life devoid of late-night transportation options. A sudden intrusion shattered our semi-slumbered stupor, a trio of young men, their presence both enigmatic and intriguing. Time seemed to stand still as they burst into the store, only to emerge moments later, clutching bottles of illicit liquor. The lone employee, a feeble figure of authority, made a futile attempt to pursue them before retreating, defeated. Curiosity piqued, my friend and I found ourselves drawn into a surreal encounter with these enigmatic strangers. Our hesitations faded as we shared the night with them, the exhilaration of newfound camaraderie eclipsing our initial apprehensions. Their reckless abandon and intoxication mirrored our own, creating an unlikely bond within the confines of a desolate seating area. Conversations flowed freely, anecdotes of high school escapades and adolescent yearnings filling the air. However, beneath the veil of levity, an unsettling undercurrent pulsed through the interactions. One of the trio, caught in the throes of incoherence, danced on the precipice of consciousness, a testament to the shadows that loomed just beyond the surface. As minutes stretched into moments, a sense of unease began to gnaw at us, prompting a hushed exchange between my friend and me. A collective decision was reached: it was time to extricate ourselves from this bizarre rendezvous. Yet, the web of hospitality they had woven proved difficult to escape, their insistence that we join them back at our friend's house becoming increasingly challenging to deflect. An audacious plan was hatched, a calculated escape that led us to a nearby park. Amidst the playground equipment and moonlit shadows, we parted ways, their obliviousness to our departure a fortunate stroke of luck. Laughter bubbled within us as we evaded their notice, retreating into the safety of the night. As we returned to the haven of my friend's home, peals of laughter mingled with the rustling of snack wrappers, creating a symphony of relief and amusement. Drunk on the surrealism of the previous hours, we savored our late-night feast, blissfully ignorant of the specter that lingered beyond our awareness. The dawn unveiled a world forever altered by the darkness that had briefly enshrouded our lives. In the warm glow of morning, my friend's mother revealed a chilling truth: a hit and run, a drug deal gone awry, a life extinguished. The mugshots staring back at us from the screen bore an eerie resemblance to the trio we had encountered in the dead of night. Stunned into silence, our gazes locked in a wordless exchange that conveyed a depth of understanding words could not capture. Our chance encounter had exposed us to the fringes of a world inhabited by shadows, a realm where the veneer of innocence could easily mask the darkest of intentions. The threads of that fateful night remained etched in our memories, a vivid reminder of the fragility of youth and the unpredictable nature of human connections. As the years rolled on, the shadows cast by that encounter would cast ripples through our lives, serving as a poignant reminder of the thin line between fleeting moments of recklessness and the haunting echoes of consequences unforeseen.
Let's go into story number 7.
Story number 7. Whispers of the Forest. A haunting encounter. The year was 1143, and the crisp air of the remote hunting grounds clung to my skin like a familiar embrace. A friend and I embarked on a deer hunting expedition, navigating the rugged terrain of my uncle's property, nestled in the heart of a secluded wilderness. The backdrop of towering trees and echoing silence set the stage for a haunting encounter that would forever leave an indelible mark on my psyche. The journey to our two-person tree stand was no mere stroll, it was a trek that demanded a harmonious dance with nature. The path we traversed, a meandering tapestry of hills and thick forests, led us towards an enigmatic peninsula that stretched into a tranquil lake. As the moon's radiant glow yielded to the impending dawn, a symphony of knocking sounds erupted from the tip of the peninsula, a symphony we initially mistook for the clash of male deer antlers in heated combat. Eager anticipation surged through our veins, the prospect of witnessing majestic bucks entwined in battle fueling our excitement. Yet, as the echoes of the knocking resonated across the landscape, a sense of bewilderment began to unravel our elation. The rhythm of the knocks, the eerie precision of their mimicry, defied the laws of nature, casting a shadow of doubt over the reality of the spectacle before us. An uncanny sensation gripped me, like a whisper from the forest itself, urging me to decipher the truth concealed beneath this mystifying facade. It was then, amidst the hushed exchanges between my friend and me, that an unsettling realization struck like a bolt of lightning. The knocking was orchestrated, a macabre dance of imitation that defied explanation. As the minutes unfurled like a spectral tapestry, a disquieting silence blanketed the peninsula. The anticipation hung heavy in the air, an eerie prelude to the chilling crescendo that would follow. Abruptly, the tranquil serenity shattered, replaced by a guttural cry, a cacophony reminiscent of an animal's anguished wail. Time itself seemed to stand still, the very fabric of reality unraveling before our eyes. In the wake of this otherworldly cacophony, a deafening silence descended upon the landscape. The echoes of our own heartbeats filled the void, our eyes locked in a wordless exchange that conveyed a shared understanding of the inexplicable horrors we had borne witness to. Fueled by a surge of adrenaline, I rose from my position, my voice a defiant challenge against the shadows that lingered. The response that pierced the stillness was a symphony of terror, a sound that clawed at the boundaries of sanity itself. A primal growl, laden with malevolent intent, unfurled from the depths of the forest, igniting a symphony of dread within my very soul. Frozen in place, my friend and I bore witness to a malevolent force, a specter that defied human comprehension, a sentinel of the night that dwelled between realms. Our eyes locked, fear etched into our very beings, as a mutual decision was silently reached. With unwavering resolve, I bellowed a challenge into the abyss, our voices united against the unknown entity that lurked within the shadows. In a final act of defiance, the malevolent force retreated, its footsteps resonating through the earth as it retreated into the obscurity of the woods. As we navigated the labyrinthine forest, the memory of that night continued to haunt our thoughts, an ever-present specter that lingered at the periphery of our consciousness. Yet, we refused to relinquish our connection to the wild, a testament to the resolute spirit that had guided us through the most harrowing of trials. In the aftermath of that fateful encounter, I embarked on a solitary quest, determined to uncover the enigma that had so profoundly affected my existence. The peninsula bore witness to my determination, a patch of earth forever marred by the presence of an entity that defied the boundaries of comprehension. The obliterated footprints, erased by an unseen hand, offered a chilling testament to the insidious forces that had conspired to conceal the truth. The years may have passed, yet the echo of that night resonates within the depths of my being, a chilling reminder of the delicate balance between the known and the unknowable. Whenever I tread the forest's path, armed and accompanied by kindred spirits, I am acutely aware of the watchful gaze that lingers within the shadows, a reminder that the realm of the supernatural is woven intricately into the fabric of our reality, waiting to unveil its mysteries to those bold enough to venture into the heart of the unknown.